Wake up, buy here, pay here people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhoads on the Buy Here, Pay Here Morning Show. Take it away, you two.
Happy Wednesday
good morning.
From Northern Utah. Glad to have you here this morning.
Yeah. It's a beautiful fall day and on our way as soon as we're done with the podcast today, heading back up to Twin Falls.
Yep. Wrapped up a weekend visit from my son. He was up from Austin, and we drove
really
around
nice.
and saw some of the fall colors in the mountains.
And it's just starting, and we had so much moisture this spring that the colors are already super brilliant. So what do we have for...
Just upcoming events we've got, and by the way, congratulations to Tommy and the folks out at the Mid-Atlantic region.
Great.
Looked like that was a very nice conference, and congratulations to them getting that restarted. And then we got coming up October 12th through the 14th is the LHPH Summit in San Diego. So again, if those who haven't booked a flight and want to come out and learn a little bit about
Lease here,
pay here. It's a good time to be looking at that for those of you that are looking at a shift in the business model or whatever else. Then
Jim and one of the controller there have been working on a spreadsheet that will show side by side a lot of the differences between leasing and lease here, pay here, and buy here, pay here, and so that dealers out there can make a much better and educated choice if they want to switch, they want to add, whatever it is that they're...
Shout out to Murray. He sent me the stuff. It's balls in my court, Murray. I got to get back to those numbers, and we'll... we're making great progress. Thanks for your help on that.
Absolutely. So, and we will be broadcasting there on the 13th. Friday the 13th, I got to come up with something fun to do on that day. But we'll be broadcasting after each one of the speakers finish. Jim will be interviewing them, and those will be broadcast live on all of our social media channels. There is no ticket for you to watch the interview that Jim's going to do. You do need a ticket to get into the conference itself, but yeah, you can.
Yeah, and then this coming Friday, we're doing recon decisions. Like we're breaking do a panel. We got two dealers. I might grab a third one between now and Friday, but we got Nick Duman from Pennsylvania, Rich Pratt from Georgia are going to join us to talk about recon decisions. Like I'm gonna get micro on this decision making. Like how do you decide about brake pads, for example? So this will be fun. It'll be a good conversation on Friday.
Well, and it kind of stems from that survey that you did where it's 100%, 75%. And so, when we finished looking at that, Jim and I were kind of reviewing and having a conversation about, okay, one thing that I've learned about humans in general is that 100% means something different from one human to the next human. Yeah. And so it's like, let's really get granular and see what does that mean to people when you say 100%. If it's got 75% of a brake pad, does that mean that that's not part of your 100% or whatever? So let's take a quick look at that.
Yeah, for sure. So that'll be good on Friday. Looking forward to that. So be sure and join us at 11 Eastern for that one live.
Yes, and we have a friend.
Yeah, we got Jared Halsted standing by from Arizona.
And I'm going to go ahead and bring Jared. Hey, Jared.
There he is.
Jared and Jim and I have, well, actually it's more Jim and Jared have a fun relationship with me. And so last night when we were talking about this, instead of actually doing what Apple's phones can do and liking a comment, I typed in Michelle liked. And then quote.
The text thread,
in the text thread.
Yeah, those who
because
have that mixed situation know very well the frustration around that.
It is a topic that comes up we with a lot of our friends, and we always bring you up too, and the fun that we have with
we do.
Yeah,
Jared,
so we appreciate you jumping in here last minute. We just reached out to Jared yesterday evening and said, hey, if you happen to be available, we're going to have a conversation.
Yeah, and thank you.
Could add a lot too. So thanks for making the pivot to jump in here and find time to talk about something important for our industry, right? We're talking about trust. We started several weeks ago, Jared, we did we started a series. So this will be the second in a series on the truth about trust. Like what in the used car industry, trust is important to us. Like we need to make sure we understand how to earn it, and how to lose it.
Yeah. And we've done a lot of surveys and had conversations. I know when we were in Arizona, we talked about this a bit. And there's, we talked about why it's important to trust, why it's important to instill a level of trust with your customers, and how how we go about that, and also whether or not it's, because we talk a lot about being known, liked, and trusted. And we believe that a lot of the first part of becoming known, liked, and trusted, that obviously they have to know who you are. And then liked, you can still work with someone that you don't like, but it's a lot more enjoyable to work with someone that you like. And then people become trusted through knowing them. So
right. So what we want to hear from you, Jared, is kind of in your own experience, like as a dealer. Let's talk first about your role as a dealer. Like, what are some things that you feel like? I'm sure you have many customers who trust you. So talk to us a little bit about how you got there. Like, what do you feel like when you try to see yourself through their lens? What do you feel like that you've done to earn some trust with them?
Well, Jim and Michelle, one of the main things I do is I look at each car like, would I sell this to my family? And then I make that car a choice. Would I sell it to my family? If not, what would it need that I put my sister in it?
Right.
And that builds the trust of my customers. I'm in a small town, so I'm built off referrals. Referrals are my number one thing. So the trust is very important to me. So when occasionally we have a car that pops up and has an accident, and we didn't know that the alternator was going to go out 2 weeks into it, it's past the 15 days, 500 miles, but it's not past my moral code. It's on that cusp where I can be like, hey, it's your problem.
Right.
Not with Double H.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's one of the ways that you create trust is by, it's like, I'm going to step up and help as much as I can.
Right. Absolutely. So that happens. I mean, I'm hearing you talk both about the work that you do to a car before you make it available for sale, right? Would you finance it to a family member? And then the other part is once the car is delivered to the customer, how does it look for them, and how do you continue to build trust throughout the long relationship?
Well, for me, a lot of times it's I have my own insurance, so we put the 3 threes on them, so that helps us. But we're not using that to recon our cars, obviously. Mm-hmm. But we reach out to our customers. We do birthday cards and all the stuff that most dealers do. But I didn't have my sales guy, whoever sold it to them, or myself, reach out to the customer a few days after to make sure everything's okay, let them know their plates are coming. And that helps build trust, too. Sometimes we reach out to them and, something was dirty or this or that, but we can work through that with them. It's building that relationship. It's not just selling the car and sending down the road.
Yeah, you touched on something important there. I think, most of us can understand that the typical consumer, when they go shopping, and Michelle and I are about to go car shopping, so one of the things that happens is there's a story, but when we go car shopping, we anticipate that the day that we buy the car, especially if we're financing it at the dealership, we can anticipate that they're going to make us some promises and suggest some things about the way they do business. And then after we buy the car, are they still saying the same thing, right? Are they really doing what they said they were going to do? Are they walking the talk that they claimed when we bought the car? So you can probably speak to that.
You got it?
We lost him.
We lost you. Hold on a quick sec.
She's making some settings changes over here, and she
can't hear you anymore.
She just kind of closed out all of Arizona, so I don't know what happened to what.
Did you change anything on your side?
No. I didn't.
Oh, for crying out loud! Okay. All right.
1 second.
Are you there? Can you hear us? Okay, I can't hear you.
Lost him.
I'm gonna have you, if you would, come back in and
exit and come back
because I tried to change your echo settings on your mic, and so if you'll back out and come back in, and we're just gonna keep rolling.
Yeah.
And talk. Thanks so much. It's trying to run a studio.
Yeah.
Is challenging.
Yeah. Especially
in its
live,
own way.
Right?
Especially live.
Yeah. So anyway, we're still here. We'll give Jared a minute to get reconnected. But yeah, the subject is really about, obviously it's what you do. It's what you claim when you're in the sales stage of the relationship is one thing. And then once the customer actually buys and now they're a customer. Now they're, they're with you for a 3-4 year relationship. What does it look like on the other side of buying? So, even if it's like Jared's talking about, a couple of days later, they call to talk about plates and follow through on some stuff. And that's a word that I use often in training is follow through.
Yeah.
Right? Are you there?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Got you back.
I'm going again, though, on my end.
Okay.
Are we sure this is not Apple problems, Michelle?
We're on a MacBook. It's all I can say.
We are on a MacBook, but
yeah.
I doubt that the interweb is only Mac based. So
it's only Mac based.
Yes, because we're not echoing here.
Yeah. So what I was talking about, Jared, is this idea of follow through. What does it look like after the customer buys the car? What do they see after they've been promised a lot of stuff before they sign the papers, and now after they take delivery, how do we continue to maintain trust?
A program that I use is even after the 3.3 is we offer our mechanic. Our mechanic only works on cars that either I'm selling or cars that I've already sold. We're not open to the public. We're just not big enough to do that. Yeah. I offer a discounted labor rate of $90, which is actually really cheap per hour here in Arizona.
Sure.
To my customers. So if they have a problem from after the 30 days, after the 90 days, after whatever it may be, they have a place they can go to where they're dealing with a trusted mechanic that wants to keep them on the road as much as they want to be on the road. So that helps out a lot too, is having your own in-house mechanic.
Sure.
Kind of what I'm hearing from that a little bit is that you could charge the going rate, but you don't because you want to be, because it's a bit of understanding the economics and what people can afford. Even if you do have reinsurance, there still is some stuff there that has to be taken care of. And I greatly appreciate that it's we're not going max, that we're doing what we need to do to be able to cover our costs. But this is that's probably not a revenue generator.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's not. It keeps the shop going. It does help offset a little bit of the shop expenses, of course. But most of my customers, we know buyer payer. If the car's not running, they're not paying. Occasionally, there's a payment plan that ends up going on with repairs that we'll do for customers too. We'll put a side note out there, which is sometimes a good thing, sometimes a bad thing. We're going to have to partake in a portion of it to be able to do that. But that also helps my customers kind of and build trust with them.
Yeah. Sure. Well, and you said that most of your customers are referrals.
They are now. Since COVID, we're in a small town. You guys have kind of been out this way, but Queen Creek, we're kind of on the outskirts of the main town. So anyone coming from a main city is going to pass 15 or 20 dealers to get to me. So we love referrals. And I work hard for referrals. I give a $100 referral for a referral. That someone that buys from us from someone that's actually bought a car from us, not just from my buddy down the road. But if you bought a car from me, I give you a referral fee if you refer a friend, because who's better to tell the experience than someone that's already bought from us.
Absolutely.
Do you ever get any feedback about why someone comes to you? What was it that your customer appreciated and why they referred, other than the money?
This is going to be hard to believe for you guys, but we have a lot of fun at Double H. Okay. We have a very unique dealership, and we have a lot of fun with the customers. It's not just we like to say fast, fun, and friendly, or kind people with country values, but you follow all that up, and it's just a good experience. I think we're selling the experience of Double H as much as we're selling our car.
Good.
So we tend to have a lot of fun.
So tell me about what an experience would look like for someone.
Well, most people walk into Double H and they're not used to seeing all the country. They're not used to seeing guns hanging on the wall and all that. So they walk immediately and they've got this look around like, I've never seen a car dealership like this. We get to talking, but more importantly, I hire people who have the same values as I do. The kind people, family people, who do right by others. That's all we have is doing right by others. So, that's part of the experience is the employees that I have and the environment that we create there. It is definitely a very Western environment. And people just eat it up. They love it. I've had people come back for their prom pictures or wedding pictures and take them from the dealership. So it's kind of a neat place to go to anyways. It's an experience in itself.
Yeah.
Right on.
That's really great. So we had a podcast not long ago and we had some guests who talked about this idea of how you help, like you didn't exactly use the phrase, but there are multiple things that you touched on there that suggest that you continue to help the customer. right? So you're showing up with every day you show up with the expectation that you're going to help a customer in need, right? So that's part of also, in my mind, how you maintain some level of trust is they learn that you're not just saying that on the day of sale to close them. You actually demonstrate after delivery that you mean it, and there's a number of things that you do to continue to earn that trust.
Yeah.
So I think the other piece, did we lose you? It sounded like we might have killed, we might have lost the audio. But we also want to talk, Jared, if you're able to hear us, we want to talk about this idea of outside of the car dealership business, like if we think about not just across the industry, like how do we earn trust, or how do you determine who you trust in doing business with? I don't think he's hearing us.
Not hearing.
Jim and Michelle, I think I'm losing you guys. You're frozen on me.
Oh,
shoot.
No.
So it might be an internet thing. So
I think let us know, anyone that's watching, if we've frozen for you all.
Yeah, let's take him out of the stream maybe for just a moment.
Okay.
And
yeah, so we can see if that.
Yeah, somebody let us know.
Adrian, stadium announcer.
There you go.
So a little bit echoey.
Yeah.
Part of the other thing that we are going to talk to Jared about, and Jared, when you can hear us, then let us know. But is about how we as individual consumers experience trust. And because, we can say we kind of, as dealers, a lot of the times live in something like a bubble, or, that we believe. We believe that this is the reason why. We believe that this is why people come back. And, sometimes it's spot on, and other times, we've seen with consumers that there's a different reason, or there's more to it than what it is that they realize. And I think a good way of being able to really dial into how you feel about, or how people earn trust in business, is to kind of view how you trust others in business, and what are the things that they that's done that elicits trust.
You can chat directly.
Yes, I'm going to.
So yeah, I think this is part of what we want to talk about, is that we really want to start to flesh out through this series, how dealers go about trusting others. Like, when they face decisions about doing business with another dealer, buying wholesale from another dealer, or from a wholesaler, or from, they're going to choose a provider of some kind. So it's one of those things that we wanted in this series to be able to start to break that down and figure out, what does it look like to a dealer to be able to, trust another party. So obviously part of that is reputation, Google reviews, where we can go, and referrals. I mean, being able to hear from another dealer that they had a good experience with this particular provider, for example. We want to be able to start to break that down, how we go about making that decision. So
yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of an internet connection on the other side.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and bring Jared back in, because we might be able to. Hi, Jared.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Yeah. So we wanted to ask about you as a consumer. What are things that we all have businesses that we just have worked with that it's like, I really trust that they are going to take good care of me. And so what are the things that you've experienced as a consumer that has gained your trust in other businesses?
How businesses deal with bad reviews. I look at the bad reviews first.
Good. Nice.
That's really
how they respond, how they deal with them.
Yeah. That's great. And
so what would be a good example of responding to review in a way that would elicit your trust?
With politeness and integrity, with the intent of doing what's right for the customer, depending on the situation. I have a few bad reviews. Most of our people have been repo. It is what it is, but I respond to them with grace and niceness no matter what. Even though I know who they are and what they're trying to do in some cases.
Yeah.
But how a business owner deals with their bad reviews will say a lot about how they're going to deal with their good customers.
Sure.
I really
I'm still echoing.
Yeah, it's okay. I really appreciate that because I watch what's happening on different streams in Facebook, and I've not been a dealer. Jim's been a dealer, but we experience consumers that are will say nasty things because that's just kind of how they communicate when something bad happens. Sometimes act like we've talked about this, act like an 8-year-old or a 7-year-old that's having a temper tantrum and say all the stuff. And, that's sometimes how people express when they're not happy. And I watch on a lot of the Facebook streams when you'll see this volley start between a dealer and a consumer that it's just like he said, she said, and, hey, Mr. Consumer, if you had done this, and that gets really snarky. I agree with you. It's about, I love that you used the word grace. Mm-hmm. It's about using grace in how you speak to people, respect, because people, regardless of whether or not they're having a temper tantrum or whatever, it's good humaning mm-hmm. to communicate with people with respect and grace instead of with snark or with in-kind responses.
Yeah, and I think, what I'm hearing from you is you see sometimes maybe it's a dealer or another business that you're thinking about doing business with, and when you see them punch back, it sounds like they like to fight, whatever. It just that's the appearance that you get, right?
And it's about not taking things personally, because sometimes you have to do business and all of that, but and removing ego from the communication.
Sure.
So is there anything else that you look at when you're looking at someone that
maybe as a dealer, working with a provider without naming names, when you're choosing a new provider for something, are there certain things that you look at there?
In choosing a provider, I like to know who else that they've serviced. So if it's a provider providing service in the industry, I want some references. Hopefully someone that I know.
Right.
And again, that's that referral thing. I'm looking for them to give my own referral there.
Right.
Tell me dealers you serve, and I want to hear from them what their thoughts are. With the new product.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that often goes past the sales pitch element and says, okay, how do we really conduct business, right? Because it's just the nature of businesses. When we have a sales department and the sales department is not necessarily involved on the other side, then it's a natural dynamic that happens, and so we recognize that. So I'm sure you're right. Referrals, and most of us in the industry, we hop on Facebook and get feedback from others who've had that experience. But yeah, you're right. Referrals is obviously part of it.
So I'm sure that you've had bad experiences. All of us kind of do. So talk about someone that have had a level of trust but have lost the trust. What did a business do to break whatever trust that you had?
You know what? I haven't really had that experience. I feel lucky. Other than maybe a vacuum carpet cleaning guy a few years back that did a good job. But I do a really good job of my referrals and knowing who I'm dealing with. And I hope consumers out there are doing the same thing. That's why they come to me at WH.
That's right. There you go.
Okay.
So let me ask you, I didn't prepare you for this question, but in your service department, you only do work for customers. Do you charge them shop supplies?
We do. I've got a flat fee of $30 I'm charging.
Okay.
To kind of built into our extraction diagnosis.
I see.
Fee we charge them. So
gotcha.
It's not line item. I don't believe.
But considering that, I see shops that charge up to $150 an hour or more, and so just even keeping it down to 90 is probably
sure.
It's a break-even thing.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about bad experiences like I've had as a former dealer, and heard a lot of service work done over the years, and you go and we're shopping under service contract some repairs right now, and so it's an interesting thing to be on the consumer side of it. and working through that and just understanding kind of how that happens. So yeah, I think I was asking about the shop supplies because I remember, going into a place years ago that was going to charge a shop supply for a routine oil change. And I thought, why not just put that in your price? What's unusual about my oil change that you need extra shop supplies? Why wouldn't it just be in my price? Like that just is something that, and I remember telling the manager at the store, because it was just the two of us, it was a quiet morning, and I just told him, I said, look, I never tell anybody else how to run their business, but I can certainly tell you how to earn mine. And so I'm just saying that's something that I see as a consumer is I'm just telling you, that makes me not want to do business with you. Like it's a simple thing, but it's like I see it, I recognize it, and I just it's just part of how I think trust can be earned. It's like we're just we're either there to help or we're there to take advantage. It just feels like we most of us as dealers, business people, we land on one side or the other of that. And so what do our actions show? Do our actions show that we're interested in our consumer, or are we really just interested in ourselves, and we're saying what we have to say to the consumer to win the contract or the business, right? So anyway, that's kind of what we wanted to have a chance to talk about today, Jared. It's just like trying to break down trust and what it looks like. Like, what does it look like to earn trust? And so you can, share anything more that comes to mind on that.
For earning trust, I think it just comes down to common values. Be honest, treat people the way that you want to be treated. Look in the eye and be honest. Really, honesty is the key to everything in this. You can look over a dent or ding, but be honest about it. But be truthful with your customer and be willing to stand up for that truth. If you told the customer one thing and a week later something else, stand behind the truth that you told them in the first place. The best way I can put that.
Yeah, and do it right away, right? Like don't delay. Like just get honest and you used eye contact. Reminds me of a fun conversation we had not long ago about a handshake. Like I know you're from a part of the world, and I realize now as I travel, not everybody really sees the value in that, but you and I understand the importance of a handshake and looking somebody in the eye and what that really represents.
Well, there's a whole emoji for that, Jim.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That's why they have one. Yeah. So, the idea is that not everybody understands the value of that. And so when you think about on an interpersonal level, how you earn trust is, that's a thing that happens. That's a very real thing. When you shake somebody's hand, you look them in the eye and you give a firm handshake, you and I would interpret something from that.
Yes.
Right. And then if that person continues to be what they said they were, then that just further, cements the relationship and solidifies the trust. And of course, trust can be damaged, it can be lost, but certainly when you build a relationship with a high level of trust, then it's obviously, and Michelle and I talk a lot about in a personal relationship, and it really extends to all kinds of relationships, is when you make deposits in that relationship, trust deposits as we like to call them, then obviously there may come a day when there's a misunderstanding or there's a withdrawal in the account, on that trust level. But when we've made enough deposits, by earning that trust again and again and showing up and doing what we said we were going to do, then obviously we've created a level of trust in that account. We've used the
example of like Southwest Airlines has created so many trust deposits with so many of their customers that when they hit that hiccup earlier this year, when everything went down and it was just an absolute disaster getting on a plane and booking things and getting crews on, and it just it hit the news really hard. But you know what? People stuck, and it's like because they know who they are and they had enough trust in their trust bucket it's like, all right, so yeah, there was a little bit of a withdrawal there, but there's still, we have a history. And so I absolutely trust you. Now, if it happened again 4 months later and again, it would be like, we're going somewhere else. But it does make a big difference. I just wanted to say too, before we kind of closed up, I was talking to my neighbor. His name is Jim as well. He's like 85, 87. And we were talking about some gardening stuff, and he needed to buy some things on Amazon. And, I said, so how do you choose, Jim, where you want to buy things? And he says, I look at the reviews. And, and so we got into to this conversation about, we look at the reviews, and I typically go to the worst reviews first and see what it is that people are saying are the worst reviews, because sometimes it's like the package ended up coming damaged, from the shipping or whatever. And I watch to see what kind of response, but that's where I go first, not the glowing reviews. But to the worst reviews, it's like, okay, I can deal with this. Again, the bad reviews, like you said, that's repo. You're going to expect that to happen. And, and I think a lot of consumers would look at that and they would go, yeah, someone's going to leave a bad review when they get repoed, because that's just, you're mad and you're embarrassed, and it hits some shame triggers and all of the stuff. But how you respond to that really shows your character, and character is something that I think too is really important when you're trying to develop trust with your consumer.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think when the consumer, others can see in your response to the review that, this is somebody who's level, this is somebody who is really, they are who they say they are. That's an old football thing. There was a coach who said the football team that just beat us, they are who we thought they were. So so it's like kind of a fun thing. But yeah, we should let you get back to your work.
Thank you so much for arranging. You must have gotten someone else to take care of getting kids to school today.
We did.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. We really appreciate you being. That's adds trust bucket drop.
Well, I love seeing you guys every time. And Michelle, you said that the fall colors are coming in there.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, all the license plates are changing colors here in Arizona. It's so beautiful.
Are they really?
They change colors here. License plates.
Yeah.
Are they like mood plates or something?
Yeah, we have all license plates with our snowbirds all coming in.
There is. Yeah, that's true. Arizona does. It starts now, and you're going to see an awful lot coming in the next couple of months.
Come pay us a visit. It's beautiful.
Yeah, come pay us a visit up here anytime. We have a beautiful guest room, and you're welcome anytime, Jared.
I'd love to do that.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Thank
see you now.
you. We'll talk to you all later. Thanks. All right. Well, trust. Yeah. We're going to have some more conversations about trust as time rolls by, because it is such an important part of how we are viewed by our consumer. I mean, there are a lot of opportunities for us to be able to develop trust, and that's primarily we started with become known in your community, and then once you have a new customer, how do you maintain that and grow that? Because again, no one knows that you're going to help unless they know you're a helper.
Mm-hmm. Right. And can see it.
Yeah.
It's one thing to claim that you are. It's another thing to show.
Exactly.
Through everything that you do what you say you're going to do. So that's part of what, by the way, we, in the first episode where we covered Truth About Trust, we talked about the poll results. It said 98% of dealers who responded to our survey, which is a pretty high level of respondents, the 98% said that being trusted translates into more sales. 98% of dealers said being trusted translates into more sales. So if we're all looking for more sales, and we're all looking to win more customers, so that's why we're staying on this trust thing. We're going to make sure people understand
how can you create more trust with your customer?
Sure.
And referrals, all of those kind of things come with it,
and maintain it.
Yeah. Yep. Well, hey everybody, enjoy the rest of your week. We'll be back on Friday. We're going to be talking about recon, and I hope y'all are enjoying your fall colors. I know that we will be on our drive up to Twin Falls this morning. Have a great day, guys. Appreciate you joining us this morning.
See you Friday. We're talking service.
Yeah.